LARPing, gonna put on my stuff, button all it up. Gonna put on my clanky armory, spot of rust. Gonna tighten up those straps, put on my belt and gloves and everything else, and ready to go with helmet. And we're... No, what? LARP can't... No! Wait, what if I... If I can't LARP, then I will LARP at home. Hello everyone, and welcome to another Unscripted VR review with me, your host, FreebieWits. And today we're taking a look at the very aptly named Throw Anything. Now, as far as horde-based shooters go, you don't really shoot that much in this game. That said, you do have access to, firearms, implements of shooting, so on and so forth. But as the game title suggests, your main option of taking down the enemy is, throwing stuff. You can throw chairs, you can throw tables, you can throw the remains of tables, you can even throw people if you're a monster, which I am in this playthrough. And despite its premise, it's actually quite difficult. It's a thinking man's game almost, to a certain degree. In a lot of horde-based games, your main goal is to, shoot and kill everything. You don't really need that much brain power. It's all reactive. You gotta be very quick on your feet. Go, bang, bang. Oh, reflex, take this guy out. Depending how fast or slow the horde is, you may not even have to be that reactive at all. You just gotta focus on what the biggest threat is and taking it down. In this game, however, Throw Anything, you have more goals than just kill everything and shooting it, because you've got to pick what you throw at them. Now, for all intents and purposes, one thing is more or less as good as anything else when you're throwing it at the enemy. It's still going to do damage, it's still going to hit them, all that stuff. So you don't really have to go, oh, I need to use the long-range sniper rifle to deal with this enemy. It's more, I've got to pick this up and throw it. Now, as I've alluded to just before, there's a bit more to it than just that. For one, you can break certain objects in the level to make more of it. You can't throw an entire table sometimes. Sometimes you gotta break it up by picking something up and throwing it at the stuff. The first level is pretty straightforward. Everything is just there. You can throw it. There are a few interactable bits here and there, but for the most part, you go for it. Second level is when things get a bit more wacky. There are things you can directly interact, buttons you can press to get more stuff, so on and so forth. And of course, there's a safe with a bunch of combinations which you can press, and you gotta think about that while taking out the bad guys. The fact that melee weapons is a limited resource is really cool as well. You can't just grab an axe and just go ham with your arm. Your main method, and your most stable, reliable method of dealing with the enemy zombies is to throw things. Which, now that I think about it, doesn't make for an accurate title. It's more of a game about dropping things. I grab something, I drop them over the enemy heads. It could have been just my specific placement in the game and such like that, but I feel dropping things is just as effective as throwing them half the time. Guns, of course, have limited ammo, so like I said, you're only going to be able to shoot so many enemies, you're only going to be able to hit them so many times with a melee weapon, and for some reason you can't use a chair as a melee weapon. You've actually got to toss it, which is a bit annoying. There is one complaint that I have about the guns, in that you don't really hold them like guns. Now, obviously in the VR footage, you can see me holding them like guns and shooting the enemies just fine, but the way I hold my controllers don't match up to where the handles of the guns are. It feels very awkward. I've got to lean my wrist a bit more further forwards than I normally would with a weapon like that. Now, besides the main game, which is amazing, and it's got some pretty terrible voice acting at the start, though I think part of that is intentional. Besides all that, you do have the hub world, which I do enjoy quite a lot. You've got a little training area, which is quite fun, even though the ammo only replenishes the guns with 10 bullets each instead of, the entire full clip, which is, once again, a bit annoying. You've got a little relaxation area with food and such, and basketballs and darts. That's quite fun. It's a bit relaxing. It's a bit gimmicky, but it's a game called Throw Anything. What about this game isn't gimmicky? And then, of course, you have the little prize pool. It's like a vending machine. You get your little prize card, put it in, There's a lot of steps here and there, and it doesn't really... the game's pretty good at pointing things out. It doesn't really spell that specific stuff out to you. Although the tutorial does spell a lot of stuff out, a lot of the other stuff is... what's the word? Intuitive. Intuitive. That's the word I'm looking at. The game is rather intuitive in how it works most of the time. Is this a good horde-based type survival game? And I would say, yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty fun. It being in VR makes it, I feel, even better. Even though I feel one of the best strategies to do when you're in trouble is to just reach behind you, grab whatever, and just toss it over your shoulder constantly. You don't really need to look at what you're grabbing. As I said, one object might as well as be good as the next. The only time you don't want to really toss what you're holding is if it's a gun or a melee weapon, in which case you want to save it for when it's absolutely necessary and such. The only thing that's missing from this game is an actual multiplayer mode. Seriously, having one person throw everything while the other person looks at all the puzzle pieces behind you would be fantastic. And of course, there's nothing stopping the both of you from joining in with each other and throwing stuff at the zombies as well. In fact, you could make it, instead of a single room with one single window, you could have 2 windows, one opposite each other, so that you can look at how your ally is doing while focusing on your own window, and of course you can switch windows at any time. I mean, depending how big the room is, I suppose, that is one thing. That is another thing that I have complaints with, the scaling and such. I don't know if it was me specifically or the game, but I accidentally punched my wall despite clearly labeling them as the limits in the VR setup. Is this a good replacement for LARP? And maybe if everything was made of foam, I can imagine a LARP type game where everything was made of cardboard or foam or something soft that you can just throw at each other. That would be pretty fun, I think. Anyways, that's my review of Throw Anything, the VR game, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Blech. I really threw that off, didn't I? This is really throwing me off. Anyways, bye-bye.